Lingo is the world's most rewarding crypto. You buy Lingo, and then you get free stuff. Vacations and Nike shoes and mobile phones. You can get really cool stuff like Cybertruck. So that's how it works. You hold some Lingo and then you can win some stuff.
Why do that? And is that also part of building a community?
It felt like it was more meaningful to people than just, hey, here's a token, you just made $500, good profit, go and sell it. It transcends money, I think. And if we can do that at scale with like hundreds of thousands of people, I think it can be something beautiful. But then how do we finance this? The way it works is every time people trade the token, we charge some fees and then we acquire real world assets with those fees. These assets generate cash flow. And we use 100% of the cash flow to finance rewards for the community. And then what rewards do we give? We let the community decide.
How important is a live token to what you guys are trying to do for your community and promise?
It's hyper important. It's the core of everything we're doing. Because that's how you can generate platform fees to acquire more and more and more assets. Like for example, if we have a healthy market cap of $300, $400 million, at the end of the year, you should be able to buy around $20, $30 million of assets. So if you do the same thing next year, it's like 20 million, 40 million, 60 million, and it goes on and on and on. And then you have the flywheel because now your rewards doubles and triples, which allows you to stimulate your trading volume even further and up and up.
What is next for you guys?
The ideal scenario for the Lingo community would be you driving around and there's billion-dollar buildings that are generating profits just for one purpose, rewarding the community. I'm not saying it will work, but if it does, how awesome would life be if this happens? So I think the why is very important in what you do. That would be the ultimate dream.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside I view is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.
The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs. Sharing our vulnerability. Overcoming our fears. Transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is... This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Hassam Rawat, the entrepreneur, business leader, and Web3 expert. You are the CEO and co-founder of Lingo, the world's first gamified real-world asset rewards ecosystem, with the mission to onboard the next 1 billion users to Web3. Lingo stands out by investing in real estate properties worldwide and then using 100% of that net rental income to buy back tokens. By combining real estate, blockchain, and the community-driven rewards, Lingo is revolutionizing the $200 billion loyalty industry by creating an exponential reward system for users worldwide that truly prioritizes community benefits. Ultimately, you believe Web3 is the most exciting sector in the world and believe it will revolutionize the entire global value system. HM, welcome to London Real.
Well, Brian, thanks for having me.
It's great having you here. I just want to start by saying that Lingo is one of our portfolio companies here at London Real Ventures, the world's first media-powered investment firm, where our mission is to transform the world by investing in cutting-edge Web3 and AI companies while giving our partners marketing exposure across the London Real media platforms and academies. We heighten awareness, create customers, and build communities
by leveraging our global audience and extensive network. We are super excited to be part of this journey with you. So let's jump in. What is Lingo?
Well, first of all, thank you for your backing and the trust that you and your community has put in Lingo. And so what Lingo is the world's most rewarding crypto. At least we're trying to build the world's most rewarding crypto.
And so that's a strong kind of a statement. There's a lot of cryptos out there, and there's a lot of cryptos with a lot of value. What does that mean to you, the most rewarding crypto?
Well, I'm not talking about the value of the token, because this is what if we succeed in the mission, will ultimately yield to. But at least what we can control is how can we make this as rewarding as possible for the community, and hopefully if we do this right, good things will happen in general. And so why the most rewarding and why go that way? It ultimately comes down to the world we're in today. Like if you think about the narratives we're being fed, we're supposed to be in the most prosperous era in history, but does it really feel like it? Like, does it really feel like it? The most prosperous era in history?
No.
Like, debt is at all-time high. We've never had so much loneliness around the world, statistically. Depression, all-time high. And it's not supposed to be the case. We're supposed to be in the most peaceful, the most prosperous era ever, but it doesn't feel like it at all. I think 1% of the world's wealthiest people owns more than the bottom 90% combined. And so it seems like the system is rigged against everyday people. And so that's why we think the crypto was a potential answer to that problem. And it's a huge problem that impacts millions or billions of people. And when we see crypto today, it's adopted by around 400 million people. It's probably the second fastest technological adoption in history after AI. And so even if you slow the crypto movement down by half, we're reaching 1 billion people in the next 5 years. And that's a big deal, because ultimately crypto was initially, this movement started by giving power back to the people. And so if this happens, if we're reaching 1 billion people in 5 years, this could potentially yield to an industry that is now at 2.5 trillion. It could be $10 trillion potentially in 5 years. And if this happens, Brian, it could be the biggest redistribution of wealth in history. And so we were trying to think, how can we use this technology and this very extremely powerful movement, a historic movement, to solve for people's everyday lives? Because we think like life should be more than just going to work and paying your bills. Like when you wake up in the morning, you want to feel excited about something. Everyone has some dream or some. It can be small, it can be big, but you want to feel excited about something. And we really, really believe in this. So if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we think Bitcoin and a lot of other projects is solving for 99% of that. Hopefully that works, and it's starting to work. We just want to solve for that top self-actualization part. Like we're fighting for people's rights to enjoy life. And so the way we're doing this is by trying to build the world's most rewarding token.
Talk to me about the rewards and how you really try to think about community first. I think you've said before that, quote, "Today the tech is easy." This is a quote from you. "Applications aren't hard to write, but they're really hard to market and really hard to persuade big communities to use them in volume." You said at Lingo we're cracking that code. And so when you think about rewarding that community, like what comes to mind? Because I know you're constantly giving away holidays and iPhones and perks, and you're always thinking about how to reward that community and keep them involved. And that seems very front of mind. Of course, the second aspect is how you pay for those rewards, which I want to get into because that's kind of unique. But is that something that was always really important to you? Like, how can we change their lives? How can we add value to their lives besides just making them money?
When I was 9 years old, it's the only class in primary school that I remember. That's because it really hit me. The class was about the future. And so I saw this drawing it's the first time I think I'm telling this story. It was a drawing with flying cars and hoverboards and laser sunglasses. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. It really hit something in me. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And for me, the best way to do this, to try and achieve what an amazing future would look like, is technology and entrepreneurship and startups. It's the only way that I found, in my opinion. And so that's why it's really important. It's trying to envision a world where in the future the life of people and life in general is so cool. And how we can use technology and network effects and startups to really make this happen. And so when I joined crypto 7 years ago, I'm still shocked to this day. I mean, I've seen you in many conferences. How many times you've asked people, what do you do? Oh, it's a layer 4 ZK sync, account abstraction rollup, AI DP and RWA meme coin. What? You know? Yeah. And so we're like, okay, so back to the macros. If this industry is going to attract $5 trillion, this could be the biggest redistribution of wealth in history. That means this will come from either institutions or retail, because it's not going to come from the actual market. And so if this will come from these two, and we're focused on retail, on everyday people, we're like, let's just try and identify what stops people from joining crypto. And if we can solve for that, maybe we solve some real issues. And so for us, it boiled down to three things. Number one was that crypto is really hard to understand. It feels like you need a PhD in white paper analytics to understand what the project is. The second is that it feels like fake internet paper money. It doesn't feel tangible. And so serious people, and if you're responsible, you start having kids, you start thinking about saving, you're like, should I gamble on a coin? It doesn't feel really tangible. And the third issue, which for us was the most important, is community loyalty. Because when you analyze the top 300 tokens on CoinMarketCap, you see that they have one thing in common. And it's not product, and it's not tech, because half of them don't even have a product. The number one thing they have in common is they have a massive community that's engaged around what that token stands for. The problem is there's no...
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside, I view, is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.
We haven't seen a sustainable community loyalty mechanism yet. And community is what we understand well. My co-founder built the world's leading premium loyalty company. We sold it to a top 4 hotel group later on. And so we were like, if we do a token that solves these three problems, if it's easy to understand, if it's tangible, and we can have a mechanism where community loyalty is sustainable and growing, then maybe we solve some real issues. And so Lingo solve these three problems. One is really easy to understand. What is Lingo? Is you buy Lingo, and then you get free stuff. You can get small stuff like vacations and Nike shoes and mobile phones. You can get better stuff like vacations. You can get really cool stuff like Cybertruck, etc., etc. So that's how it works. You hold some Lingo, and then you can win some stuff. Big stuff, small stuff, exciting stuff. Sounds easy to understand?
Yeah, it's so important.
But then how do we finance this?
Yeah.
Because and this is tied to how is it tangible and how does it link with community loyalty? So when you look at the most common mechanism to finance or sustain community loyalty in projects, it's usually dumping tokens. It's either airdrops, which means dumping tokens, or it's staking, which also means dumping tokens along the line. And so we try to think of a way where not only could we finance and sustain community loyalty, but how can we make it grow more and more and more and more? So our model looks a bit like McDonald's. You know, like McDonald's is a burger company, but on the back end, it's really a real estate company.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they're the world's #1 private real estate company. I think so, or somewhere on the top. And so for us on the front end, Lingo is a rewards token, but on the back end, we acquire what we call RWA, real world assets. The way it works is every time people trade the token, we charge some fees, and then we acquire assets with those fees. And then what we do is, obviously, these assets generate cash flow, and we use 100% of the cash flow to finance rewards for the community. And the way it's engineered is kind of like a flywheel. So the more rewards we can give to the community, the more in general it will attract a bigger community organically. Bigger community means your trading volume goes up. If your volume goes up, then you can acquire more assets. If you have more assets, then you can have more rewards, more community, more assets, more rewards, and up and up and up. And this is the vision. It's to create an exponential flywheel of assets going bigger and bigger and bigger, community getting rewarded more and more and more, and in theory it should work. I'm not saying it will, but if it does, it's going to really, really work.
And revolutionize really what's going on in the blockchain space, because no one is doing this right now. Like you said, a lot of places really just print more tokens or give more tokens out to airdrop, to staking, with the hope that that token will one day go up in price and cover them. But it's not that much of a sustainable model. It's a bit like printing more fiat currency and just hoping for the best. So with you engaging in these real world assets, there's real yield. And if you can get that going, it goes exponential. That's your plan.
100%. And not only in crypto, like in 2021, we saw projects trying to do this. So they came with the idea of we'll charge transaction fees and then we'll give those to the community. And it really took off. I think Shiba was one of the first to do that, and then they stopped the model. SafeMoon also tried to do it, but it crashed completely because the model was not sustainable. But the whole movement started with, hey, let's charge fees and then give it back to people. They only missed one thing, is these fees in itself are linked to the token value. So when the token crashes, the rewards also crash. So we took that model, but instead of giving back tokens to people, we invest that in real assets that generate tangible value, whether the token goes up or down. If SafeMoon had this model, you would have hundreds of millions of dollars today of assets around the world generating rewards for people. And so that's what we're trying to do. And if I'm not saying it will work, but if it does, like imagine you're walking around, we're in London now, you're walking around the city. There's a big building here. It's owned by a bunch of people. And the only purpose of these buildings is to make profits for the shareholders, which I don't have any problems with. It's a capitalistic society. But with technology, you can really flip the script and disrupt this model. Like imagine instead of walking around, you're seeing this building owned by a bunch of people, another building owned by another holding company. Imagine if you're walking around and you have huge buildings that's here for one purpose only. It's here to generate profits just to reward the community. That would be an insane world. And technically, it's not impossible to do with this technology. So that's what the vision is.
Talk to me about real world assets, because that's a term we hear a lot, and what that could mean. I know you started buying real estate, and those kind of like rental yields are what goes back to the community. Do you foresee other investments in the future? Maybe, I don't know, tokenized government bonds or anything else that's on the horizon that could act as an RWE that would then reward your community?
That's a good question. We could technically invest in any kind of assets. The reason why we chose real estate in particular is one, for the increased utility, because you could buy bonds, you could buy financial products, and they would give you yield, and that's it. But if you buy hard assets, you could also generate yield for rewards, but on top of that, you could have added utility. You could have stays for people, you could organize events, etc. So we found that if we're investing anyway, might as well have better returns. On the one hand, tangible, on the other hand, intangible returns. And then the second reason why real estate was important for us is just the perceived value of it. Because when you talk to most people and they think of crypto in a very fancy, fake internet paper money way, when they know there's like brick and mortar that you can touch and feel, it's reassuring.
Yeah, and for good reason, right? Because we've seen the value of tokens, drop suddenly to zero, FTX, FTT tokens, all that. So there is something assuring and tangible and understandable about real world assets. And you said that's one of the three things you're trying to solve. And if people can look there and, like you said, maybe they have kids and they're thinking, oh, crypto, that looks speculative. But if you're like, no, you get free stuff, it's backed by real world tangible assets.
Yeah.
And we've got this amazing engaged community. Like, that's what we're doing. And it's nice and simple. That goes a long way, I think, for people.
Yeah, and this is still crypto. This can still go up, this can still go down. But if it goes down, at least you're not obliged to sell, because at least there's still assets generating cash flow for rewards. And so that's also something that we're not seeing in the industry. So you probably know this guy. It's big influencer in crypto, one of the biggest top 3 guys. We had an event together in Dubai. I think you were there. They were the biggest VCs in the space, the biggest. And he told me, do you know these guys? All these VCs, you think they're investors? They're not investors, they're gamblers. Like, crypto is a big casino. It's a $2.5 trillion casino. And so it has its market, and I don't hate it at all. I'm investing in crypto since 7 years. But if we are to onboard billions of people, hopefully in the future, then I think it can transcend the gambling aspect.
Okay. HM, talk to me about the rewards, because you've clearly made a decision not to give people more tokens. You've made a decision not to give people cash or stable coins. You could have done that. But now you're giving them these perks, these kind of cool things, these exciting things, these surprising things. Why do that? And is that also part of building a community? Because I want to talk to you about how to build a community and what creates loyalty, because these are really important questions. I don't think a lot of people know how to create community. I don't even know if those top 300 projects you talk about truly understand their community. Maybe they do. But I'm curious, why did you decide on that reward? And then how do you choose those rewards?
Good question too. We think rewards, and that's a very vague term. It is more tangible, and it relates emotionally more to people. So maybe your dream is to buy a car. Maybe your dream is to go and see your favorite football team. Or you want to buy these brand new Nike shoes. But you need to save, you need to do the right thing, which I encourage you to do. At least you have a chance to maybe get something really, really cool and enjoy life's pleasures. So for us, it felt like it was more meaningful to people than just, hey, here's a token, you just made $500, good profit, go and sell it. We just felt the vibe with the community when we tested utilities on the reward side. And then what rewards do we give? We let the community decide. So right now we have a rewards ecosystem where we partner with around 3,000 brands. And ultimately it's the community. If we see that the community, they like more of shoes or vacations or mobile phones or NFTs, we'll do it. And the model allows us to yield those rewards for the community.
I guess it's almost like, you know, when a company gives away like a holiday, or when on a game show it gives away a free car, and it's like that has an emotional value to people, right? And sometimes that exceeds the dollar value. You could give your employee a bonus, or you could give them a raise, or you could give them a gold watch. And like, that's a human thing, right? That intangible value. And you're tying into that with your community.
100%. I'm a big believer in that. We had a campaign that was quite successful around 5 months ago. We took Twitter by storm, 15 million tweets in 6 weeks, and my head of growth, he was working tirelessly day and night on this campaign, and we were still a relatively small project back then. After that, things blew up. We oversubscribed by $32 million, raised 15 mil. Our investors, etc. But back then we were still like this little startup with big dreams, trying to make a name for ourselves, and this went really well. And my head of growth is from Poland, and he had to go back, and I was like, hey dude, like we'll just fly you business class. I could have given him a bonus, which we did, but I was like, let's just fly business class. He was like, dude, it's the first time I fly business class in my life. This is so cool. Like the emotional aspect of it is very, very big. And it transcends money, I think. And if we can do that at scale with like hundreds of thousands of people, imagine not only the financial gain, but the actual.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, your family, but also for the generations to come after? And the best way to do that is through early stage investments. you layer in emerging technologies like we are in today, whether that be Web3, whether that be blockchain, whether that be metaverse or AI, the gains can be exponential. The community that we have built through the investment club is worth its weight in entry point alone. Which companies will be the next Facebooks, Googles, and Amazons of this industry? We get to be a part of, set the direction, aid, support, and create a much bigger impact worldwide through our investments. I hope to see you in this investment club. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your family's life. And it's going to change the generations to come. See you in the investment club.
The actual gems or sparks that you can add in even if it's one day in someone's life. And if you can compound that, I think it can be something beautiful.
Tell me about this campaign you run, because, you know, like you said, it built out your brand, it got you tons of recognition, it got you tons of followers. You know, everybody in crypto, maybe everybody in the world in marketing is looking for that thing. And you guys found out what it was. So how did you do that? Because that's a pretty unique thing to be able to attract that much interest in a world where everyone's fighting for people's attention.
Well, if we want to let's get tactical there. And if your audience has a project they want to run in Web2 or not, I think this can be helpful. So what we did, first of all, we iterated on the idea. We've been pitching, trying to raise funds for 2 years back in 2021, and really saw like what are the loopholes, do people like it, not like it. So your actual idea, your model, your product needs to be good for this to work, obviously. But once this is good, how do you blow things up? How do you share your message across a lot of people in a very short of time?
Okay, but the key was you had iterated over and over again to where you had the right value prop as a company, Lingo. That was one of the ways that you were able to grow it.
Yeah, we were pitching every single day with tens of people every single day for like 2 years.
Okay.
Until we refined the model. But once we got that, we had to now share the gospel with people. And so what we did was we talked to founders of projects that went viral in the last 3 months. And that's important because the last 3 months or 6 months, in like 1 month in crypto feels like 3 months in the real world. It goes so fast. And so we talked to around 3 or 4 projects and we asked them, what's your 80-20? Like what are the 20% of things that you did that yielded 80% of the results? And so what we did was we aggregated those 20% for the 5 projects and we built an experience that combined everything at once. And so for example, one of the projects was Tabby. And it's a really cool project. I think they're backed by Binance Labs and Animoca. They blew up their community by 1 million people in 6 months organically. And they were one of the first to craft an experience. So it felt like they had like little islands on a 2D, like black and white islands. And every time you would click on the island, you could do some tasks. And if you do those tasks, you would win some NFTs. And then God knows what's in the NFTs, but it was really cool. They were one of the first to do that. And so that was a really good idea. We're like, let's have an experience. How do we make it 10 times better? But this is really cool, like having a fun experience. Not just, if you like our tweet, we'll give you airdrops. It's not interesting. It's not emotionally connecting. The other project was Portal Coin. So they understood, I think when Elon Musk took over Twitter, he gave Twitter's API, access to people's API. And so they were one of the first, or the first, to build, to link Twitter actions to potential airdrops, to a point system. So every time somebody would talk about them on Twitter, they would win points, and then obviously they would want more and more and more points, so they would just spam people. So we iterate on the idea. So we didn't want people just to spam people. We gave points for quality content. So you really had to understand the mission. But this is a really cool idea. So we link Twitter's API to a point system linked to potential perks in the ecosystem. Nice. The other thing we did was we learned that from a project called Manta Network. So it's a project listed on Binance. It's a really cool project. Their co-founder invested in us too. And they had a system called gacha. It was a system invented by the Japanese where it's like a card game. So you would have 5 different cards. And if you win one of each card, you could win a really special card. And then this really special card could give you really big perks in your project. And people went nuts with this idea. So what we did was we did the whole experience, and then we added what Portals did and what Manta did together. So you would win points, and those points would give you cards instead of airdrops. And so it went crazy. 15 million tweets, 6 weeks. And at some point we had 500 videos per day. Like our community was just building viral videos every single day. It was insane.
And the API would detect if they had done that and give them points and rewards for that.
The quality content side had to be manual, because the AI was not as sophisticated back then. So we were just checking every single day. This is so cool. And every time we liked it, people would win more points.
And then the gamification also just took it over the top. And people trying to collect those 5 cards did it all. So it was like all these things coming together. What makes a viral moment? You never really know. It's like a bunch of things all happening at the same moment, right?
The other thing we did was inspired by Web2. So you know Alex Formosi. We just talked about him. So he did a book launch last year that became the biggest book launch in internet history. And one of the ways he blew up his campaign was with an affiliate system that consisted of 2 parts. One part is, hey, if you invite 10 friends with your affiliate link, you would win an extra chapter in the book. If you're in the top 10, then you would win a one-on-one with me. So we also took that along, and we told people, hey, if you invite 10 friends to join the airdrop experience, we called it Lingo Islands, you could win more points, more cards, etc. And we made it very easy for them. So all you had to do was copy paste an invite link, and we had buttons on Twitter, on Telegram, on email, and you just had to send it to your friends. And then whenever they would click, they would see the banners started to tick. And the other thing was we had the top 10 also, where we gave people crazy amounts of perks. As you know, we have many celebrities that invested in us too, which is important for the distribution side. So you could have access to our celebrity network, to our investor network if you are in the top 10. So we added that too in the whole experience.
And that 2-part makes a difference, because if you just had the top 10, it doesn't get people engaged on the low end. But if you make it easy to engage on the low end, you kind of create momentum with them to a certain extent. Yeah. And then they buy into it, they're invested in you, and then part of them wants to be like, all right, let me see if I can hit top 10.
100%. And we were a lot about democratization, because what you see in most airdrop campaigns is that big influencers, they rack most of the airdrops because they have bigger audiences. So we really wanted to reward people that were aligned with our vision and that were creating quality content and making effort. So which is why, even if you had a very small account, if you had 100 followers, if you really believed in what we're doing and putting effort into creating really cool content to educate people about the vision, you could potentially win big airdrops by winning the cards. Okay. So that also was important.
Okay. Now, based on the back of this amazing experience and launch, are you going to replicate this in the future? Are you going to tweak it? How often do you do these big ones? These big campaigns.
Well, we have our TG coming soon, and that's going to be something.
You've done the same you did some public sales or some pre-public sales as well, and you had similar campaigns for that.
Yeah, the airdrop campaign came just before the public sale that we did around 6 months ago.
Okay, all right. And TG is coming up soon, and there'll be something special for that as well. Okay.
Yeah, you'll see.
I can see in your eyes there's something cool.
It's going to be cool.
All right, so it's what you just described with like 2 or 3 other iterations on top of it.
Let's find out.
You talked about your celebrity investors. Talk to me about the value of them. Also, you treat your celebrities different than a lot of people. And that's another thing that makes Lingo special, because you don't say, hey, I want you tweeting about this and I want you promoting the coin. Like, you want things to be organic, you want them to be natural, and you want them to be, I think, long-term focused. Can you talk about that?
Sure. We haven't seen the Nike of crypto or the Red Bull of crypto yet. This smartly leveraging celebrities that mean something to the audience and linking that value with the brand. We haven't seen this yet in the crypto space. We've kind of saw it in 2021 with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, right. But we haven't really seen it at scale, like what a Nike would do. And so since we tried to solve for the top 3 problems of the mainstream market, and once we solved them, we needed distribution that speaks to the everyday guy. And so, which is why celebrities for us was important, but ambassadors that were not here to just tell you, hey, buy this. First of all, I think it's cringe, and people, they don't really adhere to it. Secondly, it feels like a scam, like you're trying to scam people to buy crypto. And so we pitched to people that had influence, whether it's football players from Real Madrid or from Bayern Munich, or I think we're probably the second company with the biggest team of UFC fighters. After Monster, we have 100 UFC fighters who's aligned with us.
Wow.
And
100.
And we didn't pay anyone anything. We give them exposure to our tokens that, hear me out, it's locked for 2 years, not even invested, locked for 2 years. And so which celebrity, some of them earn $2 million a month in salary. If you want to get them for a story, it's probably around 200K. Which celebrity would say, hey, there's this project there, they're not going to pay you anything, you're going to be locked for 2 years, probably after the bull run, and maybe if this works, it's going to be worth something, and it's going to change things. Are you in? Like, who in their right mind would say yes? But we managed to do it with 100 of them because they really like the vision. Because a lot of them also, they started from nothing. They built their career from their hard work and also talent, and it somehow the vision was really aligned with it spoke to them. And so we're very blessed now to have a great team of ambassadors ready to promote this vision. And you'll never see them saying, hey, buy this coin, like never. They will speak, and they have total freedom on what they like about the project, and they have total freedom on what they want to speak about with their audience.
Wow. And they'll just mention it occasionally. They'll talk about something you're doing. They'll talk about, hey, I'm involved in this project, or this is coming up soon, and I really like what these guys are doing. These are the kind of ways that they'll talk about Lingo.
And also give rewards, hey, I just won this match, I'll sign it, I'll give it to people. Okay. If you want to win it, maybe someone will win it in the community. I'll give you an example. We were in Paris together at Lulu for the Paris Blockchain Week. Yeah. And so we did the closing speech with Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich. And so Michael from Paris Blockchain Week is like, hey, can you bring Kingsley? We're really big fan of him, and apparently he's a big investor in crypto. And I called him, I was like, hey bro, like, can you come? This is the last speech. And he was like, hey, I have a Champions League match the day before, and I have training in the morning, so let's come and see me in Munich. I'll fly in, and then we'll rehearse the speech on the plane. I'll deliver the plane, and then I'll take a motorbike because of the traffic in Paris to go back to Munich. And he's not paid to, like, who does that? And I think that speaks to what we're trying to accomplish.
And you have a team that goes out and individually pitches these people? That's impressive.
It was mostly me at first.
Okay.
And then probably 85% of the ambassadors behind Lingo was organic, was an ambassador signing and calling their friends like, hey, this is so cool, you want in? I can hook you up with the Lingo team. And then when they hear what we're trying to build, hey, sure, this is so cool, let's do it. And I think referrals is much stronger than just trying to pitch agents or businesses.
Yeah, you said the Nike. I feel like in crypto right now, people are playing checkers, not chess. And like, it's just this hard sell. Kardashian will tweet something out when she gets paid X amount of money, and then she gets in trouble, of course, with the SEC. Yeah. But it feels like, if you look at what Nike did, be like Mike, and you look at all the subtle ways they built this brand. You also mentioned Red Bull. Red Bull is so subtle in the way they build brands. They invest in content. They give you all these incredible, entertaining events, and then the logo's just kind of there in the corner. And I breakdance, and a lot of these breakdancers are Red Bull athletes, and it's just incredible what they do. It's so subtle, and they're such a massive company. They're not really a beverage company. They're really a media company or an experience company. Maybe they're a community like you. But in crypto, we haven't seen that company yet, have we? No one seems to be thinking chess or 3D chess. Maybe you are. But right now, it feels like a lack of creativity, and it feels like people get bludgeoned over the head with influencers, right?
We have a few. Crypto is small. You probably know most people that are movers and shakers in the space, and so do I. And what I found with with most founders that were successful in the space.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
Probably more than half of them are short-term oriented because it's so easy. It's so easy to launch a token on a big exchange and do some marketing and then just dump on retail and make money. And I think when you have that kind of power, just to say, hey, let's not do that, let's build something solid long-term, I think this can have a much bigger impact for the community, even financially as an entrepreneur, than just, hey, let's make money in 2 months, you know? Which is why when you look at 9 projects out of 10, they list and then rug pull. They just sell and then they go away. So I think the financial incentives are, like, crypto in itself is so powerful that it allows the financial incentives to be yielding if you're short-term focused. And that's why I think there's amazing projects out there building really cool stuff. But there's also, and I don't think it will ever stop, also short-term people just being able to just rug because of the way this technology is built, which is, it is what it is.
Yeah, you say it's easy, but then in the end, it's a poor decision, isn't it? Because reputations go down and you're not going to be able to do that more than once. And so it is easy because the liquidity in this business is so immediate. You know, I worked on Wall Street for 15 years. You know, you might wait 8 years for an IPO and then it has to be approved by the SEC, and it's a very difficult thing to come liquid. Here you can be liquid, you know, in a week if you want to be. And you're right, it's very tempting for certain people, and it might seem quote unquote easy, but it's actually the worst thing you can do because your reputation goes down and maybe you have some money, but you can't really show your face anywhere. And unfortunately, I guess it happens though. It happens to a lot of people. I listened to this interview where you said to somebody, when you originally signed, maybe it was like your LLC agreement with like your co-founder, you looked at them and said, I'm doing this for 8 years minimum, something like that. Talk to me about that realization that to do anything well, it has to be a long-term commitment, because that, like you said, is almost the opposite of what we're told in crypto, or all the success stories that people see, especially in the current meme coin wave, you know, that, oh, it's quick, easy money. When we got into crypto in 21, I saw this amazing technology and it was super community centric and everybody could win and the power's back to the community. And I would tell people about it in the streets and they'd say, oh yeah, that's the way to get rich. And I'd be like, no, you're missing the whole point. It used to drive me crazy. Talk to me about the power of that vision and why did you say that to your co-founder?
There's a VC that invested in us, and we had a bunch of Web3 VCs, but then this one was it's not a VC, it's a family office by a self-made billionaire that really understood Web2 investing.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.